And now cricket. England's team for the second Test match, starting in Sydney tomorrow, will be Hutton, Bailey, May, Graveney, Cowdrey, Edrich, Evans, Tyson, Wardle, Statham and Betzer. And news has just come in that the senior police officer found not guilty in a recent murder trial has been found dead in a small hotel in Paris. No further details are available.
The last time I saw Paris, her heart was warm and gay. No matter how they change her, I'll remember her that way.
In The Lonely Margins by Ted Allbeury, Christian Rodsker played Harmer, Kim Thompson, Jane, Ian Cuthbertson, Mr. Fraser, and John Badley, Carter. Carl During was Klugman, Simon Cuff, the defence QC, Stephen Rashbrook, the prosecution QC, Alan Dudley, the chief constable, Caroline Gruber, Miss Watkins, Norman Bird, the judge, Eva Stewart, Mrs. Fraser and Mrs. Carter, Stephen Harold, Pierre, Lawrence Payne, Inspector Hales, Michael Tudor Barnes, Inspector Phillips, John Sampson, Keating, and William Simons, Grover. The play was directed by Matthew Walters.
We present The Other Side of Silence by Ted Allbeury, a serial in 8 parts adapted by the author from his novel of the same name, with James Bolam as John Powell and Nigel Hawthorne as Kim Philby. Part 1, Moscow Encounter.
My name's Powell, Johnny Powell. And when you're starting a new operation in my kind of business, the old hands always tell you to go back to square one. And that's easier said than done, because it isn't always easy to recognize what is square one. And certainly, in the Philby saga, there seemed to be a whole heap of starting points. And in an odd sort of way, I was one of them myself. So I'm going to go back a few years to when I was recruited into SIS. And by the way, SIS is how MI6 is usually referred to in the business. I'd been told to go for an interview. I was a special branch officer at the time. Special branch does the police work for MI5, and there's always been rivalry between MI5 and SIS. The interview was at an address in Trafalgar Square, and when I got there, I found that it was a barber's shop. I asked for Mr. Fisher, and they sent me through some bead curtains and up a narrow flight of stairs.
Come in.
Mr. Fisher?
Do come in, Mr. Powell. Take a seat. Did Chief Inspector Lewis talk to you about a possible transfer to another intelligence service?
He said it was under consideration.
Oh, yes. Good. Good. And I gather that you have no objections?
I don't know enough to have an opinion.
Quite. Now, I've looked through your file, but I'd like to know just a little bit more. I don't want to open old wounds, but your parents, for instance, the record says that you...
I was left in a cardboard box on the steps of the police station at Berwick-on-Tweed. It was estimated that I was 2 days old. We never discovered who my parents were, neither have I.
Yes. What I was going to ask you is whether you feel that this has affected your personality in any way. Has it made you resentful of authority, or perhaps have a chip on your shoulder?
And that would be for others to judge. I don't think it's affected me at all.
It would affect most people, Mr. Powell, one way or another. Your special branch senior suggests that it's made you, what shall I say, more independent, more of a loner.
Could be.
You've been positively vetted recently, and there's no problem in that area. Let me tell you a bit about the kind of work you'd be doing. And of course, course, the other advantage is that your pay is tax-free. So, I'll see you at Queen Anne's Gate on the morning of, what did we say? Oh, yes, the 3rd. I'll notify the Assistant Commissioner today. I look forward to seeing you again. Mind those wretched stairs, they're very steep.
And that was square one so far as I was concerned. What looked like another square one was altogether different.
The Foreign Secretary, the Right Honourable Harold Macmillan.
It can rarely have happened in our long parliamentary history that the political head of a department should have had to unfold to the House of Commons so painful a story as that which it is our duty to consider today. To understand, though not, of course, to excuse this story, it is necessary to cast our minds back to the 1930s and to recall the kind of background against which the two principal characters grew up. In this connection, the name of one man has been mentioned in the House of Commons, but not outside. I feel that all honourable members would expect me to refer to him by name and to explain the position. He is H.A.R. Philby, who was a temporary First Secretary at the British Embassy in Washington from October 1949 to June 1951, and had been privy to much of the investigation into the leakage. Mr. Philby had been a friend of Burgess from the time when they were fellow undergraduates at Trinity College, Cambridge. Burgess had been accommodated with Philby and his family at the latter's home in Washington from August 1950 to April 1951. And of course, it will be realized that at no time before he fled was Burgess under suspicion.
The Right Honourable Richard Crossman.
This is a peculiarity of the Foreign Office. During the war, I was a member of a secret auxiliary department for psychological warfare attached to the Foreign Office. The Prime Minister knows, because he was in charge of our department, that we had to obey the security rules. Although we had to keep the regulations, the Foreign Office next door did not have to bother about it. Foreign Office was too high and mighty. It was infra-dig for the Foreign Office to abide by the common laws of security. The Prime Minister laughs, but he knows that this was a fact. If the right honourable gentleman shakes his head again, I will say one of the unpleasant things which I did not mean to say. The plain fact about this case is that the security officer ought not to have come into this question at all. For even if these men had not been suspected of any relationship with Russia, they were unfit to be members of the Foreign Office. Yet they were permitted to be members of the Foreign Office.
Colonel Marcus Lipton.
Let me refer to the remarks made by the Foreign Secretary about Mr. Philby. But before dealing with them, I will deal with the question of smear, referred to by my honourable friend, the member for Cardiff West. The withholding of information creates the very risks which we all want to avoid, and which every decent-minded person deplores. The risk of suspicion and distrust in which McCarthyism flourished.
Before my honourable and gallant friend leaves the case of Mr. Philby, I point out that in the course of a question which was greatly publicised, he made what was tantamount to a charge against that gentleman. The House is in a privileged position, and I think that my honourable and gallant friend owes it to the House to give the source of that information.
No. I'm prepared to forward that information to a judicial member of the Privy Council, a High Court judge, who, as has been suggested from this side of the House, should carry out an investigation into the operations of the Secret Service, and who should report to the Prime Minister in a private report. Surely that is not an unreasonable offer to make.
Yeah.
Before I draw to conclusion, I want to say that I will not be gagged by anybody in this house or outside in the performance of my duty. Even Mr. Philby has not asked for it to be repeated outside. Let us leave it at that for the time being.
When it was decided that some man we'd been keeping under surveillance should be arrested, there was generally a whole day, or even two, before the actual arrest was made. And I sometimes used to regret that we couldn't give the man some kind of warning that he only had a few hours left of freedom, so that he could put it to good use, arrange his affairs, prepare for the change in his life, or even make sure that those last hours were enjoyed rather than wasted. I sometimes wondered if they didn't sense the blow that was about to fall. And in a way, I was doing much the same when I drove Vanessa up to Suffolk that Saturday. Oh, nobody was going to put me inside, but it was a day that was going to change a lot of things for a lot of people, including me. Vanessa's the girl who lives with me. She's divorced, and there's a small daughter, Lydia, who lives with Van's ex-husband, who's one of the landed gentry. He's a funny sort of fellow. He's in his late 40s, big-built and basically amiable, but with the closed mind and pomposity that so often goes with inherited wealth, and Eton, and the household brigade, and the rest of the twaddle they go in for. We'd driven up to take the little girl out for the day. It seemed a pretty ordinary sort of day. We had lunch at one of those rather homely cafes that you find in East Anglia.
Is she wild?
Is who wild?
Mama. Daddy says she's wild. Have you got a tissue?
Mother's got them in her bag.
That's why they were divorced, you know. I heard Aunt Jean telling somebody. Do you think she's wild?
I think she's a very nice lady, that's what I think.
Are you an actor?
No, what made you think that?
Aunt Jean said the other man was an actor.
Was he now? I hear you've just had a pony.
Yes, my daddy's going to teach me to ride. He's got lots of ponies. Well, horses. He's going to be master of the hunt next season. Costs thousands, you know.
What would you like to do this afternoon?
Can I drive your car?
When you grow up, you can.
I drive the Land Rover at home, on Daddy's lap. I drive it down to the farm.
Oh, that must be good fun.
Oh, it's not fun. Daddy says people who want fun all the time are stupid.
How about we go to the river and fish?
Have you got rods?
A couple.
That would be nice.
Here's your mother coming back. Looks like she's got you a comic.
Here you are, sweetie. Last week's girl and a new Trebizond book. Boy Trouble at Trebizond.
Oh, thank you, Mama. Johnny's going to take us fishing.
Fine. Let's go.
Ooh, it's right out to the reeds.
We had some fun on the river for an hour. Then I drove Vanessa back to the hotel before I took young Lydia back up to the manor house. One of the conditions her ex-husband had laid down for her seeing Lydia was that Van would never appear at the house. So I always took Lydia back.
Bye.
Back on the stroke, I see. Well done. Lydia,
Yes, Father?
come back here. What do you say?
Thank you for having me. I had a lovely time.
My pleasure.
That's better. Off you go. She behaved properly?
Perfectly.
What did you all do?
Had a meal, fished, potted about.
You need a day ticket to fish, you know.
Yes, I've got one.
A jolly good show. Got to look after the village interests, you know. Sitting on the bench and all that.
Well, I'll be off.
How's Vanessa these days?
Pretty well. She gets by.
Expect you keep her on a short rein, huh?
She's a grown woman, Ralph. She lives her own life.
Oh, quite. I suppose we all learn a thing or two as the years go by.
When can she see Lydia again?
Just say the word. Any time.
I'm not always around.
She can phone herself, surely.
She can't, Ralph. She's scared of you.
Scared of me? She was never scared of me. Well, gave back more than she got.
It's not that kind of scared, Ralph. She's scared you'll rebuff her. Scared you'll punish her by saying no.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
It isn't. I've been there when she phoned you in the early days. She used to be ill when you rebuffed her. Really ill.
You don't mean that.
I do.
My God, I'd no idea. I didn't think she cared that much about the child.
She cares, but maybe not the same way that you do.
And how do I care that's so different?
I know you care very much for your daughter. Honest, consistent caring. She obviously loves you too, like children do love their parents, without analysis and without criticism. You and Van had much the same background. You're a man, she's a girl. Men do well from your upbringing. Girls don't. They're taught how to land a husband, but not how to live happily ever after. I'm sure you never realized that.
What made you say that, pal?
Say what?
You said kind things about me. About caring for my daughter.
I said it because I think it's true. And I'm not scared of you, Ralph. Only scared people are unkind.
Did Van say this?
No, it's all my own work.
Does she ever talk about me?
Sometimes.
Does she miss me at all?
She never said so in so many words, but yes, I think she misses you.
What does she miss?
Well, bag of tricks, I think. She lost her home ground. You, her home, her parents, her daughter. The girl can't lose much more than that.
It was her doing. She played the fool.
I'm sure she did. What did you expect with that superficial bitch of a mother of hers? Plus the fact that you didn't love her.
Oh, for God's sake, I chased her all over the countryside after her, getting her out of one scrape after another.
That's not loving her, that's owning her. If you'd loved her, she'd still be your wife.
That's not true, old man. It was she who wanted out.
Rubbish. She just wanted to matter more than your farm, your horses, and your business.
She never said that.
God, Ralph, how old are you? 44, 45? Your bloody horses don't tell you when they've got the croup or whatever horses get. You have to notice the symptoms and then apply the Band-Aid.
What about you and her?
What about it?
Does she come first with you?
Well, I haven't got your wide sweep of competing interests, sweetheart. It's just my work and Van. And I work to earn a living, not to pass the time. And we're not married either.
I wish I'd known all this before.
You could always try again, Ralph. You've got a bridge.
How do you mean?
Your daughter.
I don't understand.
Why don't you take her out with Van instead of me? And she might see that Lydia doesn't grow up to make the same mistakes that she made.
Would you mind if I invited her here?
Of course not. Like I said, she's a grown woman.
Maybe there's some way I could help you sometime, pal. I appreciate what you've said.
Well, just remember, Ralph, she ain't a man, she's a woman. And despite her appearances, her parents weren't much good to her. Neither were you in the end.
You're a strange man, pal. I don't understand your motives in telling me all this.
People don't always have motives, Ralph. They sometimes just say what they mean. And if you'll make it less of an ordeal for Van to see your daughter, you might find it helps all round.
You're on her side, of course.
Oh, Ralph, grow up, for God's sake. You don't need anybody on your side. You've got your manor house, the rolling acres, your family money, your daughter, and life goes on much the same for you. Van's got nothing. A pittance to live on, doled out by you and her parents so that you can look decent to your friends. That's it. That's all she's got.
She's got you.
Okay, and if that's all she's got and we're picking sides, then I'm on her side. 100%.
No offence meant, old chap.
See you. We drove back to London and I took Van out for a meal. I worked out afterwards that we must have been just about finishing the grilled sole when Faro was getting an earful in Moscow.
Эти испытания мы вам дадим очень. It's not possible, this information.
But President Brezhnev said a
It's
year
not
ago...
possible. You must leave this building immediately.
I am a journalist. Here is my official accreditation
It's no matter.
card.
You must leave building now.
Oh, for God's sake.
Don't you remember me, Tom?
Kim?
Let's keep walking. We can shelter in the church. It's been a long time, Tom. Over 20 years.
Nearly 25. How are you?
Older but not wiser, I guess.
I heard that you were refusing to see journalists these days.
Yes, it got a bit tiresome. Had to draw the line somewhere.
I've just been to the Central Committee offices.
So I understand.
You knew?
I heard that you'd asked for an interview.
Why haven't you been able to get over to them that they're their own worst enemies?
What did you ask them?
A percentage of party members to the whole population.
Well, why didn't you phone TASS or Novosti? They'd have told you.
I wanted it from the horse's mouth. What the hell harm can it do?
Well, you could be writing a piece claiming that the low percentage indicates lack of support for the party.
For God's sake, we all know that it's bloody difficult to become a party member.
Well, the average Britisher doesn't know that.
It's been said and written often enough.
I saw a piece in the Telegraph a few months back about a survey in East Anglia that showed that only 2% of those questioned could name the British Foreign Secretary or the Home Secretary. Well, they aren't going to remember a piece in The Guardian about the structure of politics in the Soviet Union. Do you really want to know the percentage?
Of course.
It's 6.25%.
Does that include Komsomols?
No. They don't always get party cards. Now, don't quote me as your source. Check with Novosti.
Now, what are you doing out in the cold, cold snow? I should have thought you'd be at the ball show in the best bib and tucker.
I wanted to see you.
Well, you could have phoned me, for God's sake.
Well, I could have. I didn't want to.
I'm bound to report to the embassy that I've talked with you. Otherwise, I'll end up in the scrubs under suspicion.
Suspicion of what?
Either defecting or writing another biography about you.
I want you to give somebody a message for me.
Oh, why don't you phone them or write to them? I heard that letters do come through from you from time to time.
This is a personal message, a confidential message.
Who to?
A man named Padmore. Arthur Padmore.
Who is he?
He's a prof at one of the colleges at Oxford.
I thought you were a Cambridge man.
Oh, I was. Still am, I suppose.
Now, what college is it?
St. Anthony's.
What was Arthur Padmore? MI5 or MI6?
MI6.
And what's the message?
Tell him I want to come back.
You're kidding.
I'm not. Serious. Very serious.
They'd sling you in the tower the moment you landed at Heathrow.
Oh, they wouldn't, Tom. Anyway, just tell Padmore that I want to come back.
Then why don't you contact the embassy?
You know better than that, Tom.
Do I get an exclusive on this?
Well, you'd end up in the tower if you breathed one word about it. I've got to ask you not to tell anybody about this. Not your paper, not your wife, or your girlfriend. Nobody but Padmore.
Who said anything about girlfriends?
I'm thinking of the pretty one. The one in the flat in Islington. The one who looks like Britt Eklund. Mary Cooper, age 20. A telly ad girl on the Daily Mail.
My God. Where did you pick that up?
Oh, don't worry, my friend. We all do it. Just remember that old Royal Navy toast. To sweethearts and wives, may they never meet.
When do you want me to contact Padmore?
As soon as you can.
But I can't just swan off to London like that. I'm not due to leave until Christmas.
Book a flight out for tomorrow. I'll give you a reason to go.
Oh, what is it?
You promise you'll tell nobody but Padmore?
Yes, if that's what you want.
It is.
Oh, what's my excuse then?
No, it's not an excuse. It's a reason. On Friday afternoon or early evening, the special branch will be arresting a Russian from the trade mission at Highgate on charges of spying. He'll be picked up at the entrance to Sloane Street Underground Station. His photograph and a reasonable amount of background material are in an envelope in my pocket. You'll be the only newspaper man who even knows his name. Is that enough?
Yes. Yes, of course. Why do you want to go back, Kim?
Maybe I'd like to see the Australians at Lord's just once more. The envelope's on the floor. Bend down and pick it up after I've gone.
How can Padmore contact you?
He'll know how.
Cheers.
Do svidaniya.
Would you rather have a glass of sherry?
Oh, tea's fine, Professor Padmore, thank you.
Now, what's it all about?
I saw Kim Philby in Moscow a couple of days ago.
Oh, really? Still the same old Kim, I expect?
He sent a message, personally, to you. He wants to come back.
You're joking, of course. Or he was.
I'm afraid not. He was very serious about it.
What makes you think that?
He implied that if he wasn't allowed to come back, he might come back under his own steam.
Good grief. Is he ill or something?
He's older, of course, but he looked okay.
How did you meet him?
I'd been to the Central Committee building in Old Square. He followed me when I came out.
Did he say why he wants to come back?
Not specifically. He implied that he was just homesick.
Who have you told about this?
Nobody. He made me promise, and he offered me some useful information in return.
And you intend keeping your promise?
Yes.
Have you ever signed the Official Secrets Act form?
I'm a journalist. I wouldn't dream of signing any restrictive form.
I'm afraid you'll have no choice. Well, that's not quite accurate. You can refuse, and I'll have to make arrangements for you to be detained. You'd find it very difficult to operate as a journalist with, well, let's say, the authorities against you.
Can my commitment be limited to this incident?
Of course. And may I say, your cooperation would not go unnoticed. But I've no need to enlarge. You're obviously a very sensible young man.
Will you let him come back?
That'll be for others to decide. So, Ian.
Arthur?
We'd better use the scrambler button. A bit of a bombshell, Ian. I've just had a message from Philby in Moscow. He wants to come back.
He must be out of his mind. What do you intend doing about it?
I'll use the Milord Committee, sort it out as diplomatically as I can. But I wanted your general approval.
Unofficially, you've got it, Arthur. Officially, you've never even mentioned it to me. Understand?
That was the first episode of The Other Side of Silence by Ted Allbeury. John Powell was played by James Bolam and Kim Philby by Nigel Hawthorne. Mr. Fisher and Mr. Daines were played by Hugh Dixon, Arthur Padmore and the Deputy Speaker by Lockwood West, Harold Macmillan and Sir Ian by David March, Richard Crossman by Nigel Anthony, Marcus Lipton, Alan Dudley, Vanessa Lucinda Curtis, Lydia Karen Hensher, Ralph Gower, David McAllister, and Tom Farrow, John Livesey. Direction was by Christopher Venning. we present The Other Side of Silence by Ted Allbeury, a serial in 8 parts adapted by the author from his novel of the same name, with James Bolam, Fulton Mackay, Lockwood West and Geoffrey Matthews. Part 2, The Search for Square One.
I'd always seen the Malord Committee as a waste of time. One of those things that got tacked onto the real things I spent my time on, which was debriefing Soviet defectors. Milord was the code name for a surveillance operation keeping tabs on a suspect, Lord Harpenden. He was only a life peer, but he had been one of the people who MI6 suspected of being what the newspapers always refer to as the fourth man, and the man who recruited Philby, McLean and Burgess. There wasn't a fourth man, of course. We knew that. There were half a dozen fourth men. Men like Harpenden, who had been at Cambridge and who headhunted for the Soviet intelligence services. Oh, they didn't recruit anybody. The Russians wouldn't have let them. They just pointed a finger, and the Russians did the rest. But we'd kept Harpenden under continuous surveillance for several reasons. He was a successful businessman, and some of his business was done with Iron Curtain countries. We had a suspicion that he could still be playing footsie with Moscow. The Malord Committee met from time to time, and I had to report on the latest position. I wouldn't say that it was a waste of time, but it was far removed from my main work, and I had suggested several times that the surveillance should be handed over to MI5 for Special Branch to deal with. It was really more their responsibility. But for some reason, the Malord Committee insisted that it was ours, especially old Padmore, who was chairman of the committee. Arthur Padmore had once been a senior desk man in MI6 and was now in some sinecure at one of the Oxford colleges. He was a nice old stick, but a bit of an old woman. McNay and Walker, the other two on the committee, were both still operative in MI6. I didn't have much to do with any of them, apart from the routine meetings of the committee. Of course, I hadn't realized that this particular meeting was going to be different.
Are we ready then, gentlemen? Are there any new developments regarding the Malord operation that should concern us, Mr. Powell?
Oh, it's been pretty well the usual pattern, sir. But he's applied for various sums in foreign currency for overseas trips that have not taken place.
Has he infringed any Bank of England currency regulations?
Technically, yes, but there are several loopholes he could use as a defence.
Does anybody feel like pursuing this point? Anything else, Mr. Powell?
The gardener we've got at his farm has developed lumbago. We're going to have difficulty getting another man to replace him.
We'll leave all that in your safe hands, Mr. Powell. There are more important things to discuss this time. Philby wants to come back, gentlemen. He sent a message through a journalist.
Who was the journalist?
Tom Farrow.
Oh, who's he with now?
The Financial Times.
How like him to pick the FT.
What's your reaction, James?
You don't need to ask me, do you?
And you, Patrick?
Any conditions, any suggested deal?
Just the message.
Who's it to?
Me, personally. He gave Farrow my name. So, what do we do, gentlemen?
Is he in trouble? Philby? Have we had any reports recently?
I looked at the embassy file on him. Doesn't seem to be anything special. Very few visitors, all Russian, mainly KGB.
Could be a very interesting exercise, Arthur. Very interesting indeed.
What do you think, Mr. Powell?
Has this eventuality never been discussed before?
Not so far as I know.
Has the Foreign Secretary been told?
No, not yet. Apart from us, only Sir Ian knows. The message was specifically for me. He'd asked us to make our recommendation.
I really thought we'd heard the last of this saga.
Could I ask you to leave the room for a few minutes, Mr. Powell?
I'll be next door, sir.
Thank you. One of us will come in for you. I'd just like a little chat with my colleagues. I suggest that we take this very calmly, gentlemen. Let's look into it very carefully.
What have we got to look into?
Let's just say we look into the whys and wherefores. I won't enlarge on that.
Who's going to do the looking?
I suggest Powell does it. He would be ideal for it.
He's experienced, he's bright, but I don't know much about his background.
Well, I've got his P file here. Let me see what it says. Right. Age 43. Abandoned as a baby. Left on steps of police station at Berwick-on-Tweed. No trace of parents. Placed in orphanage just outside Sunderland by the Salvation Army. Won a place at grammar school. Joined Metropolitan Police. Promoted sergeant. Transferred special branch. In SB for 5 years before coming to SIS. Promoted 1970 to section head. For 3 years has been responsible for debriefing defectors from the Soviet Union and Poland. His responsibility to this committee was tacked onto his schedule. His annual reports all give him high ratings in every area. Loyal, reliable, perceptive. An ideal man for this job, I would say.
What'll his brief be, Arthur?
To give this committee his evaluation of whether Kim Philby really does want to come back, and if so, why. And his recommendation as to whether this committee should agree or not.
And when we've got his recommendation, each of us expresses the same opinion he has now.
You speak for yourself, James.
Exactly. Patrick,
Yes.
can you pop next door and ask our friend to come in again?
Yes, sir. We're ready for you now.
Mr. Powell, there are conflicting views on the whole episode of Philby, but just because of that, I felt that you had a valuable role to play. Nobody who lived in those times and worked in SIS could possibly have an unprejudiced view of the rights and wrongs of the Philby affair. You were not of those times, and you have an open mind. We haven't. You have another advantage. You are a trained, experienced, and if I might say so, respected officer in SIS. Putting all those facts together, we want you to make the recommendation as to what our response should be. Talk to all of us. Ask anything you like. Check any record you think would help. Go and see Philby in Moscow. And then, when you're ready, tell us what you think.
What staff can I have?
None. Facilities, yes. All the facilities you want. But you will not discuss or even hint to anyone else what you are doing or the approach from Philby.
What reasons can I give for talking to people and calling for files?
Tell them we're stepping up the Milord operation and you're checking backgrounds.
Who do I report to?
This committee. Nothing formal. Just keep in touch.
Any time restriction?
Take as long as you want, within reason. Are we agreed, gentlemen? Is silence agreement or disagreement, gentlemen?
I think both James and I are still a bit stunned by the news. The more I think about it, the more impossible it seems. I've no objection to Powell doing what you suggested, but he'd have to be well briefed. It could be a trap of some sort.
What about you, James?
Only on one condition.
What's that?
That we agree now that whatever his deal is, we say no. String him along if you need to, but the answer is always going to be no.
He might be offering us the working drawings of SS-18s, James.
If he was guaranteeing the defection of the whole Politburo, I'd still tell him to get stuffed.
Well, we've all had our say. Mr. Powell, I'll talk to Sir Ian so that you can get what help you need. Take your time. Talk to Mr. Walker and Mr. McNay. Form your own conclusions. I'd like you to come and have a chat with me sometime before you go off to Moscow.
Right, sir.
Lunch tomorrow, Johnny?
Fine.
12:30 Caledonian Club. I'll book a private room.
Okay.
Ask for me at the desk, there. Come in. There you are, sir.
Thank you.
Good to see you. We don't want any interruptions, so I got them to bring us some cold cuts. We can help ourselves and eat as we talk. Drink?
No thanks.
You don't mind if I do?
I wanted to ask you first.
You've read the books? About Philby, I mean. And his own book?
Yes, I'll reread them, though.
Won't help you much. You can read everything that's been written and you still won't know what it's all about. And of course, Philby's own book was meant to make our security services look like fools.
Were they?
God. Who knows? I was one of them and I can never make my mind up.
What's your general opinion?
He was a traitor. He was ruthless. Hundreds of men died because of what he did. And he did it cold-bloodedly, knowing that they would die. Always remember that. He didn't just betray secrets, he betrayed people.
You wouldn't let him come back?
No. Help yourself, Johnny. We can talk as we go. What are your views?
All much the same as yours. The facts are there. What other conclusions are there to draw?
Oh, you'll hear other views than mine. From people who think that a boy from Westminster School who went to Trinity and belonged to the right clubs couldn't possibly be a traitor. Don't believe it. Philby was a traitor, all right.
What makes you so sure?
The Albanian business? Otto Jorn in Lisbon? Volkov? Will they do for a start? He sent men to their deaths because some bastard in Moscow thought something might be to their disadvantage.
What was he like as a man?
Oh, they'll tell you what a charmer he was and what a hard-working officer he was. Forget it. He was a bastard. A 24-carat bastard. They have to say their piece because he was one of them. Well off, university, part of the old boy network, a drunk. He was the kind they recruited. He was like them. Half of them still don't believe he was a traitor.
What do they believe?
They're like our friend Walker. There's some explanation, they say. There is. He was an out-and-out bastard.
Did you have much to do with him?
Off and on, yeah. You see, he had his finger in every pie, made it look like he was the tireless, never-sleeping organizer. If there's a problem, Philby can solve it. And they believed it. Made him a senior officer of SIS. I mean, how stupid can you be?
Surely it was his skill in deceiving them that made him successful rather than their stupidity.
Johnny, rubbish. He'd been a commie at Cambridge. He'd mixed with Communist Party members. His wife was a Viennese communist. Not secretly, but openly. An active official. Now, do you think that I would have lasted 5 minutes if my wife had been a Communist Party official?
Did they know that?
Yeah. It was on his bloody P-file. Oh, no, it wasn't a secret.
So why did they leave him in the service?
I told you. He was like them. A gentleman. Being a communist was some boy's prank, like scrumping apples.
People have said that he was very successful against the Germans.
In a way. Yes, in a way. But you see, he wasn't doing it for us. He was doing it for the Soviets. He was helping them win, not us.
Is there anything good about him that you can remember?
You must be joking. Whatever that bastard wants, it won't be for our good. It'll be for him.
I went along to see Patrick Walker at his house in Chelsea. I rather liked Walker, a big man, overweight and plump, but he struck me always as being civilized and intelligent.
Well, make yourself comfortable, Johnny. How did you get on with Jimmy McNay?
I don't really know. I think perhaps I learned more about him than I did about Philby.
Oh, tell me more.
He seems to see Philby as unmistakably a villain. I felt he was very prejudiced.
Maybe that's a good thing. Helps you to avoid prejudices too early in the game.
Do you think Philby was a traitor?
Yes. Yes, I suppose he was. The difference between me and McNay is that I feel there's more to it than that.
Why?
Oh, that would take weeks to explain. Most people agree that whatever he did, it wasn't for money or any material reward. It was ideological, political, if you like. His father was an eccentric, again all authority. Kim was like him in many ways, a loner, almost an anarchist. And if that's the way you think, then it's a damn sight easier to admire a government that you don't live under than the one you're actually stuck with. There were a lot of people in those days who saw a new light for the world in Moscow.
Was he a likeable man?
If you forget that he was a traitor, yes, he was. Yes, he was likeable. But nobody ever got close to him, not even his women. As a double agent, he couldn't afford to have people close to him. But he was good company and a good brain.
You liked him?
Yes, I did.
Any other reasons why you think that there was more than just treason?
God knows. There was so much that went unexplained. You could be an admirer of the Soviets without being a traitor. What made him go that far? And once he was a real suspect, why did we give him so much rope? He was named in the Commons as the third man by an MP. He was interrogated by our people, competent people. He was found a job as a journalist. He hung around Beirut for years. He could have been arrested or killed, but nothing happened. Our people are not as stupid as they're made out to be, and you know that. So, why was it all made so easy?
The least embarrassing way of getting rid of the problem?
No, that won't wash. People who ought to know better have suggested that before. Its effect on our relationship with the Americans, the CIA and the nuclear agency people, was catastrophic. They'd never really trusted us since then. It was bad enough what he had done, but for him to slip out to Moscow under our noses was just too much.
Do you think that there's anybody who really knows the whole story about Philby?
No. I suppose there are perhaps half a dozen people who could put together their pieces of the jigsaw and be pretty near the truth.
Why hasn't anyone done that?
Well, for several reasons. First of all, nobody knows who the half dozen people are. Well, they don't realize it themselves. Secondly, at least two of them are in balk. The Lord is one, Kim's KGB controller, that's another.
How would you tackle this assignment?
I wouldn't even try. I'm too much part of those old days. Old Padmore was no fool, you know. He didn't suggest you for this operation for your beautiful blue eyes. He knew that anybody from the old days would be useless. We're all prejudiced one way or another. We've all been over the ground too many times. We analyze what we know in the context of those days. Those who rather liked him, people like me, put his treason down to his being converted to communism. But there are no real grounds for thinking that. He'd got a sharp analytical mind, so why should he have fallen for all that crap? Most of the early Moscow worshippers changed their minds when they saw what they were really up to. So why not Kim? But we hang on to that theory because there seems to be no other motivation. It certainly wasn't money. Unlikely to be blackmail. Maybe it was power. Who knows? Maybe you'll be the one to find out.
And how would you recommend that I find out? And where do I look?
Well, he was almost certainly recruited in 1933. Before then, he was openly communist. He made no secret of it. But about the end of 1933, he was covering up his tracks and talking like a convinced right-winger, or at least pro-establishment. As an avowed communist, he would have been no use to the KGB. But you've got to remember that in 1933, Hitler was only just in power. Nobody saw him as a danger. So what did the KGB expect from Kim at that stage? Nobody knew that he would end up in intelligence, let alone as a top man.
What would you ask him if you were me?
Well, I think you'll have to go very slowly until you've got to know him. Remember, he's a KGB officer, and he was an SIS officer. He knows all about dodging the questions. Ask him about Otto Yorn and Volkov. If you're satisfied with his answers about them, then you'll know you're beginning to get at the truth. But you'll only get the truth, or somewhere near the truth, if he feels you're open-minded.
I am open-minded. That's why you all asked me to do this job.
Yes. In Kim Philby's case, you'll have to use a lot of imagination. You probably see me and McNay and Padmore as old fogies. Philby, too. But you've got to remember that we were all young men once, younger than you are when it all started. It was a different world then. And you won't understand Philby until you can transport your mind back to those days.
I'll do my best.
You do that, my boy.
Mr. Tom Farrow to see you, sir.
Come in, Tom. Sit down.
I hope this isn't going to take too long.
Oh, it needn't, Tom. It needn't. How's life in the Financial Times these days?
Reasonably civilized.
You know what I want to talk about.
Yeah, I can guess.
How many people knew that you were going to the party headquarters that night, Tom?
Nobody. Except the officials there. I'd made an appointment.
How long before?
About 10 that morning. The appointment was for 5 o'clock.
And it was just before 7 when you left?
Roughly.
When had you last spoken to him?
About 6 months ago. He was sitting behind me at the Bolshoi. I hadn't noticed him, but he tapped me on the shoulder in the interval.
What did he say?
He just said, hello, and how did I like Moscow?
How long before that since you saw him?
Not since the press conference he gave after Macmillan had cleared him in the Commons.
Was he alone at the Bolshoi?
No, he was with his girlfriend. And they were in a party.
Did you feel your meeting with him this last time was an accident or deliberate?
You know bloody well it must have been deliberate. You wouldn't pass a message like that on the spur of the moment.
Did anyone follow you?
I didn't see anyone. I didn't really look. I was too surprised.
Did you think he was serious?
Well, he was serious enough about me delivering the message. Only you chaps can decide whether he's serious about coming back.
Why are you so sure that he was serious about the message being delivered?
He was very specific, very pressing.
I heard on the grapevine that it was you who tipped off the Mail about Special Branch arresting Raukoff. Did you?
I gave them a hint, yes.
Must have been more than a hint for 800 quid.
Yeah, maybe.
How did he look?
Much the same as ever. A few more lines, creases maybe.
Who was the girlfriend at the Bolshoi?
The pretty one, Nina. I have not heard her full name. She lives with him.
Did you leave the church together?
No, he left first. I stayed behind.
You didn't make any attempt to follow him?
Not bloody likely. It shook me. All I wanted was to get away. And following KGB officers in Moscow gets you straight in the Lubyanka.
Who did you tell about this?
Nobody. I phoned Padmore from Heathrow, and he told me to go and see him before I contacted my office. He read me the riot act about what would happen if I talked about it.
And what about your editor?
I haven't told him, nor anybody else.
Did Padmore make you sign the piece of paper?
Of course.
I went down to Oxford to see Arthur Padmore. It was all very English and academic. The book-lined study, the leather armchairs, tea and sandwiches, all very posh.
How have you been getting on?
Well, it's hard to say, Sam. I've been absorbing material rather than evaluating it.
Quite so. Very wise. And Walker and McNay, have they been helpful?
I think so. I shall know more when I've spoken to Philby. At the moment, none of it makes much sense.
Oh? Tell me more.
I can't see why he should want to come back here, or what he expects the reaction to be.
Feelings would be mixed, of course.
But he could be tried as a self-confessed traitor.
It'll be very difficult to do that. Suspicion is one thing. Evidence to satisfy a court is another. We had to work that out a long time ago.
But what about his own book?
Have you read it?
Yes.
At no place does he admit that he was a traitor. And he could claim that it was written under duress.
He's an officer in the KGB. The British government admitted in 1963 that he had been a Soviet agent since 1946. He's been awarded the Order of the Red Banner.
Meaningless in court. We went over it all at the time with a fine-tooth comb. The Attorney General said that he would have to instruct the Director of Public Prosecutions not to go ahead if we tried to bring a case on that evidence.
Why did SIS still use him after they knew? Why did they use their influence to get him employed by The Economist and The Observer?
I wasn't privy to those decisions, I'm afraid.
Can I be frank, Mr. Patmore?
I should imagine you well could be, Mr. Powell.
What did you think of Philby?
He was intelligent and hard-working, and he had unreliable friends. But who hasn't?
You don't feel he was a traitor?
Depends on what you call a traitor.
A man who gives or sells his country's secrets to its enemies.
Are you referring to the Soviets?
Of course.
They were our allies most of the time that Philby was working for SIS. Our enemies were the Nazis.
Why do you think he wants to come back, sir?
He'll be 70 next January. He must be bored and lonely. I suppose he wants to die in his own country.
Would you welcome his return, sir?
I think I would. Yes, I think I would. Perhaps welcome is going a bit too far.
Why would you have him back?
For the same reason I gave when they asked me about him before they first took him on in Section D.
What reason was that, Mr. Padmore?
I knew his people. There was nothing wrong there. There's nothing wrong with him either. Others misled him.
I'd got mixed feelings about this trip. I'd only been to Moscow before on a couple of routine trips, checking security at the embassy. And what I'd been told by Padmore, McNay and Walker was so contradictory that I didn't feel that I was all that well briefed for talking to friend Philby. It was all very well them saying go back to square one. But square one was long before I was born.
Aeroflot flight number 174 for Warsaw and Moscow is now boarding. Will passengers please proceed to gate number 21?
That was the second episode of The Other Side of Silence by Ted Allbeury. John Powell was played by James Bolam, James McNay by Fulton Mackay, Arthur Patmore by Lockwood West, Patrick Walker by Geoffrey Matthews, the club servant and the policeman by Adrian Stokes, and Tom Farrow and the Aeroflot announcer by John Livesey. Direction was by Christopher Venning. We present The Other Side of Silence by Ted Allbeury, a serial in 8 parts adapted by the author from his novel of the same name, with James Bolam, Nigel Hawthorne, Fulton Mackay and Geoffrey Matthews. Part 3, A Meeting in Red Square.
Aeroflot flight number 714 for Warsaw and Moscow is now boarding. Will passengers please proceed to gate number 21?
It suddenly seemed odd to be on my way to talk with Philby. He'd always been just a name to me, a name that represented a time and circumstances that were nothing to do with the real life, a kind of dream world. The name didn't evoke thoughts of treason or espionage. It was more like the name of one of those old film stars from the days of silent films, Rudolph Valentino or Mary Pickford. I'd read the files, seen the photographs, and talked with Padmore, McNay and Walker, but he still seemed a very shadowy figure. I looked forward to meeting him, but I had no idea how it was going to turn out in the end. They'd booked me in at the Russia Hotel in Red Square, and I was to meet Philby in the History Museum on the other side of the square, past the Lenin Mausoleum. He would be waiting for me on a bench, opposite the sledge that Napoleon had used during his retreat from Moscow in 1812. There was 2, maybe 3 inches of snow, and by God, it was freezing cold. Mr. Philby?
Yes. Sit down. What's the answer?
Well, I suppose my visit is the answer so far. Well, I'm sure you'll understand that they will want to know a lot more before they give you a yes or no.
So Ian was told?
Of course.
And he sent you?
No, not exactly. It was dealt with at another level.
I don't believe it.
You don't believe what?
That Sir Ian would leave it to others lower down to decide.
But you must know, Mr. Philby, that whatever the level, they would want to establish why you want to come back. It's been a long time. You haven't made it easy for yourself.
Why are they playing games, Powell?
Well, I don't think they are. They're just being cautious in case you're playing games.
So? Well, ask me what you want to know.
Why do you want to come back?
I'm 69, Mr. Powell. I'm tired.
Are there any other reasons?
Well, of course there are. A lifetime of reasons.
Why did you do it?
Do what?
Go over to the Soviets.
Well, it's a long story. Others could tell you better than I could.
Who?
You got time to come to my place?
If you want me to.
Good. Let me take your coat. You better buy a fur hat while you're here. Make yourself comfortable.
Thanks.
Did they send any kind of message?
No. I was asked to make contact with you and find out why you want to come back.
Well, they must know why I want to come back.
I don't think they do.
Can I ask who instructed you?
Arthur Padmore.
Oh. Well, what else do you want to know?
More about you.
Well, I'm sure you already know everything there is to know. The files and the good men and true.
I'd rather hear it from you. Neither the records nor the gossip make sense.
In what way?
All of them, for or against, say that you're highly intelligent, a rational thinker. That many undergraduates of your generation felt that the Soviet Union might be the new utopia. Most of them soon changed their minds when they found out what was really going on in Russia. So why not you? Why did you work for the Russians and go on working for them?
Do you see my wartime activities against the Nazis as working for the Russians?
You're giving me smart answers, Mr. Philby. They won't wash with me. I'm not the right generation. If you're going to stay on the defensive, I might as well head back for London.
What were you doing in 1932?
Nothing. I wasn't born until 1935.
So how can you understand what it was like in those days?
I can't. Maybe you can tell me. All I want to know is why you really want to come back. You've got a lot of explaining.
Padmore will already know why I want to come back. I don't know why we have to go through this charade.
My orders come from Padmore. If he knows the reasons, then he obviously isn't convinced that they're valid. Yet.
And you expect me to give you my life story before you weigh me in the balance?
It's an exaggerated way of putting it. But yes.
I could just go to Sheremetyevo and get on the next plane to London.
I doubt if your KGB friends would like that.
Tell me, how long have you been in the firm?
A long time. Years.
You realize that your visit means that they're playing games with both of us?
Tell me.
There are things that some of them know that they're never going to tell you. And there are things that I can't tell you either. And if they haven't told you, then you'd need to know far more than you ever can for me to convince you.
About what?
About all of it. What happened from 1931 onwards.
Just tell me the truth about why you want to go back.
Why are those bastards playing games?
Do the KGB know that you want to leave?
Oh, for God's sake, work it out for yourself.
That'll take time. But if that's what you want.
There are things I can't say right now, and the things I can say won't convince you. Oh, I don't blame you. How could you? You weren't around in those days. Galen is just a name to you, so is Otto Young. But you'd better tell London that one way or another I'm coming back.
And if I'm left to do it my way, then, by God, what's gone before will look like... No. No, don't say that.
Is there any real urgency to this? Are you in any danger?
No. I'm not in danger. The urgency is my age. I want some peace. Just a few years of peace.
Well, don't you get that here?
Yes, in a way I do. But it's like spending a long holiday with distant relations. It's fine for a time, but you look forward to going back.
Can I ask you for a straight answer to a question?
Of course.
Are you a triple agent?
You know, I honestly don't know. I never did know. It was the same for me then as it is for you now.
Tell me how it all started.
All right.
You'll like Eastbourne, Kim, and you'll like Aldbeury School. You'll meet nice boys there, I'm sure.
Yes, Mother.
I'm expecting a lot of effort from you, my boy.
Yes, Father.
What is it that I want?
That I go to Westminster, Father.
As a king's scholar. Nothing less. You'll be following in my footsteps.
Yes, Father.
Vámonos. Moverte.
We've been using donkeys here in Spain for centuries, Kim. Once upon a time it was camels. The Moors made this the center of art and philosophy. They built this mosque in the 8th century. The Arabs swept through Spain right through to southern France. All this, every bit of it is Arab. In those days they were the scientists, the astronomers, the mathematicians, the artists. Never forget that, Kim. They aren't just Bedouin roaming the desert.
Is that why you like them so much?
Yeah, it's part of the reason. They've been badly treated by our people. They were given promises during the war that we've never kept. Promises of independence.
Why didn't we keep the promises?
Our people never intended to keep them, Kim. They just used the Arabs. Never trust politicians. They'll lie and deceive and intrigue for their own ends.
What do you do in Jeddah?
Advise the king.
Does he pay you for that?
He gives me trading rights to import and export, and negotiate oil concessions on his behalf.
Why don't we live there with you?
Your mother doesn't wish it. She's quite right. It's very rough and primitive. It's a country for men, not women.
Do you miss the family?
Never be dependent on anybody, Kim. Just you remember that. It's a weakness in a man. Stand on your own 2 feet. Go your own way. Don't be a sheep, be a man. If you need other people, even one, then you're never free.
Yes, Father.
You have many friends in Moscow?
There are 2 or 3 people I like who like me.
Would you miss them if you went back to England?
Not so that it mattered.
I was told you had a girlfriend.
I've no obligations there. They'll look after her when I've gone.
Have you any other reason for wanting to go back, apart from homesickness?
No, just old lang syne. I'm not planning subversion or working for the Soviets. Apart from anything else, I'm too tired to play games. I've had enough of all that.
Are you disillusioned about communism?
That implies that at some stage I was deluded. I never was. What I believed then, I believe now. My coming back isn't anything to do with communism or politics or whose side I was on. It's nothing to do with whether I was a traitor or a patriot. Can't you understand that?
I'm sorry, but I can't.
Do you like England yourself?
Yes.
Why?
Well, I suppose I could put up some rational reasons, tolerance, freedom and all that. But I doubt if they would be real. I just like it. It's where I belong.
Yes, that's all it is for me. Habit. What I understand without thinking. The place where I grew up.
You told Farrow you wanted to watch the Australians at Lord's. There's nothing in your records that shows an interest in cricket.
No, I've never seen the Australians play, and I've never been to Lord's. I'm not that interested in cricket. I can barely remember even the basic rules. Oh, for me, cricket is summer, village greens, and the last night of the proms, the boat race, apple blossom, country trains, and nothing much more than that. I'm not sure it's even any of those things. They're all just symbols.
What would you do in England?
Nothing, if they'd let me. Just read. Be there. I'd keep out of the way.
It wouldn't be that easy. You might be recognized.
Would you have recognized me?
I'm not sure. Who recruited you for the Soviets?
You know that as well as I do. You've been working on it.
How did you know that?
I'm a KGB officer.
How did they know?
I'm not trading information, if that's what you want. Did they make that a condition?
No, it hasn't gone nearly far enough to consider conditions. Those would come later if they gave a positive response.
Meantime?
Meantime, I came to Moscow to talk to you.
Well, it must all be on file by now. What else is there you need to know?
It isn't all on file. That's just the words. I'd like to hear the music.
That could take quite a bit of time.
I've got nothing else to do until the decision is made.
Talking to me won't really help you, you know that. You won't know if I'm speaking the truth.
I've been deciding whether people were telling me lies or the truth for a long time now. I think a pretty good idea.
When are you planning to go back?
Tomorrow or the next day.
Well, that doesn't give you much time to decide one way or another.
It does. I'm taking it step by step. As soon as I'm getting a negative feeling, I shall stop. Until then, I shall go on taking the steps.
Have I given you negative feelings today?
No.
And what have you learnt?
The shape of a man, the sound of his voice, his own words, not the words of others. Could you fix me a taxi back to the hotel?
Yes, of course.
I can see myself out, don't bother.
You wouldn't get out unless I was with you. You don't need to go through the embassy when you want to contact me again. You can write to me at P.O. Box 9497, Moscow. Or you can phone me here. Moscow 1555003. Do you want to write it down?
I'll remember it. Will you be here tomorrow?
Yes.
I'll call you early.
Okay.
I stayed up half the night thinking about Philby. I could well understand why Padmore and Walker found him likable. They were all rather like one another, self-assured and a bit self-satisfied. And I got the impression they were all holding things back, hints about the past that couldn't be mentioned, or couldn't be mentioned to the likes of me. I phoned Kim Philby and told him I'd be back in a few days. He seemed disappointed that I was leaving. It was time anyway that I gave a report to the committee. I didn't know enough about the Otto Yohn and Volkov incidents to challenge friend Philby, and McNay was just the man to tell me.
I don't think much of this, Mr. Powell. No recommendation, nothing decisive in the whole report. Are you holding something back?
No, Mr. Padmore, I'm holding nothing back. But I get the impression that everybody else is.
What does that mean exactly?
It means that everyone I've spoken to so far has dodged the issues. On the one hand, he's a traitor, but on the other, he's a gentleman.
And what do you conclude from that?
I conclude that you think that Philby is a gentleman traitor, and maybe something went on in those days that you would all rather forget.
What's your opinion, James?
My opinion's the same as it always was. There'll always be plenty of people to put in a good word for Philby, and maybe Powell is right.
Right in what way?
Maybe something did go on in those days that a lot of people would prefer to sweep under the carpet. For me, he was a traitor, and we're wasting Powell's time on our own. Obviously, even the Russians don't trust him, so why the hell should we?
What makes you think they don't trust him?
Well, you've read what Otto Jorn said after he came back.
Oh, my God. He was a traitor if ever there was one.
What was your impression about Kim, Mr. Powell?
I've said what I think in my report.
Well, perhaps you could bring yourself to repeat it.
I think he wants to come back, that he expected to come back without any trouble. And I think he can't understand why we're going through this ritual.
Any other impressions?
Yes. I'm quite sure that Philby will seriously consider carrying out his threat to come back his own way if we don't agree.
In your report, you suggest that Philby said that there were things he couldn't say. What do you reckon all that was about?
I didn't suggest that, Mr. McNay. I reported what he actually said. I have near enough his own words.
But what did he mean?
I don't know.
But what do you think he meant, damn it?
I have no idea what he meant, but I suspect that I'm the only person in this room who doesn't know what he meant.
Mr. Powell, I think perhaps we are all beginning to miss the point. We accepted from the start that none of us old hands from the days when Philby was an officer in the SIS could put aside his knowledge of those days and assess the present situation satisfactorily. I think that in trying to avoid passing on those prejudices to you, we have maybe clouded the position for you even more. That was stupid. There is a simple issue at stake here. Should we or should we not agree to the request of Kim Philby to return to the United Kingdom? Now, how do we resolve the problem? I suggest, subject to what my colleagues may have to say, that we leave you to deal with this affair in your own way. Go back to the primary sources. Satisfy yourself. Report to us only when you have arrived at your own opinion.
I'd like to ask to be taken off this assignment, sir.
Oh, this assignment didn't come only from this committee, Johnny. It came from the top. We can all understand your feelings. It shouldn't take long. You can refer to any of us if you wish. Otherwise, go your own way.
Is that official, Mr. Padmore?
Oh, of course, my boy, of course. Mustn't rush things. I accept that. Take what time you need. Now, I must be on my way. Can we share a taxi, James?
Of course.
Yeah, Padmore gave you good advice, Johnny. Ignore our views, go back to primary sources. Be a historian.
The trouble is that what everybody says makes sense until you put it together. And it doesn't seem possible that you're all talking about the same man or the same events.
Maybe we're not, my friend.
I noticed that Padmore didn't deny that I was the only one in the room who didn't know what Philby meant when he said there were things he couldn't say.
Maybe his mind was on other things.
Do you think that was why?
I suppose not, Johnny.
So what is it you all know that I don't?
Well, it's a problem of semantics. We don't know anything that you don't know or couldn't find out. We just have our suspicions, our own explanations for why it doesn't all hang together. You'll be the same in the end.
I have my suspicions now.
Well, don't tell me. I don't want to know. But you'll have to turn over a lot of stones before you find the worms.
How far back do I go? And where?
Cambridge, 1931. Vienna, 1933. Section D, 1940. Madrid, 1944. I could go on all night. And then there's Volkov and Otto Jorn. If my suspicions are correct, you'd better get a move on.
Can't be a moment, Powell. Just let me sign this report, and I'm all yours. Right now, what can I do for you?
Well, I really wanted to ask, were you in SIS when Philby was recruited?
Yes. I came in about 6 months before he did.
What had he done after he left Cambridge?
He had some sort of sabbatical in Vienna, improving his German or some excuse like that. He married his first wife there. She was a Jewess and a communist. He was there about a year. Came back in 1934 and worked on some magazine. Must have been about that time that the Soviets recruited him.
Uh-huh.
There was no more communist talk from Philby. He joined the Anglo-German Fellowship, pro-Nazi organization, edited their magazine. He visited Berlin several times, had talks with Ribbentrop's people, Goebbels' office. Then he went to Spain as a freelance journalist. After a few months, he became the Times correspondent, reporting on Franco's side. Was awarded some Franco medal or other. He was the Times correspondent in France until Dunkirk, and it was then that he was recruited into SIS.
Who recruited him?
Burgess got him in. They knew one another at Cambridge.
But Burgess wouldn't have had the authority to take him on. Who actually said yes?
Well, I'd say it was a combined decision. He had the usual preliminary interview at St. Erman's, then several further interviews. I was at one or two of them myself.
Were you for or against?
I was for, oddly enough.
Why?
Because he didn't seem all that keen to join. I've always had the theory that the eager beavers are dangerous. Philby seemed aloof. He was working for the Times and said that he wasn't sure that he wanted to change. There should be reports of the various interviews in the files.
There should be, but there aren't.
Nothing at all.
Absolutely nothing. Not even a note on the index to say that material has been removed.
What about Burgess and McLean's recruitment reports?
They're still on file.
Very strange.
What made Philby change his mind about joining?
God knows. Probably Burgess.
Tell me about Burgess.
What part?
His background.
His father died when he was 8 or 9. He was a Royal Navy commander. His mother married again, a wealthy man, Colonel Bassett. Burgess went to Eton and then Dartmouth. He had some medical problem, his eyes, I think. He was sent back to Eton, won the Gladstone Scholarship and went up to Trinity. Handsome, arrogant, talented, debauched. That's about it.
So you think that Philby was recruited by the Soviets in 1934?
I'd guess that he was looked at in Vienna and was working for them by the time he went to Spain.
Why then? I thought he was working for the Times.
No. He was already in Spain as a freelance when the Times hired him. Before that he was broke, so where did the money come from? How did he finance the trip?
And what did the Soviets want him for?
Well, I imagine that it was useful to have information from the Franco side, eh? And I'd guess they were setting him up for MI6 as a useful recruit.
And who recruited him for the Soviets?
I'm sure he was looked over by Milord. And I'm sure that it was Milord who had already spotted Burgess and McLean. At that stage, I should think that Burgess was the man who mattered. And I'd say, too, that Philby got his Soviet funds through Burgess.
What was Milord doing at the time?
Teaching science at Cambridge. The details will be on your files.
When did you first suspect Philby yourself?
In 1945, when I heard about the Volkov affair. That stank of Philby. And I was sure in 1949 when my people went into the trap in Albania.
Well, did you say so at the time?
Too bloody true. I raised hell about it, and I put in a separate report in 1952 when Milmo questioned him.
Well, what happened?
The old boy network started working. I thought I was going to get the push myself. I got a call from one of the nationals offering me a foreign correspondence job, and I could guess where that suggestion would have come from.
Who?
Oh, I don't mean one person. There were a couple of dozen busy protecting Philby.
Have you thought any more about why he wants to come back?
I've got my suspicions.
What are they?
No, thank you, my friend. The network's still there. I'd like to retire gracefully in a couple of years' time. I've already put in a few extra years. Are you going back to see Philby again?
Yes.
Ask him why he married Lizzie. That was probably the beginning. I'd like to know what he said. His answer could be very revealing.
That was the third episode of The Other Side of Silence by Ted Allbeury. John Powell was played by James Bolam, Kim Philby by Nigel Hawthorne, James McNay by Fulton Mackay, Arthur Padmore by Lockwood West, and Patrick Walker by Geoffrey Matthews. Mrs. Philby and the Airport Announcer by Miranda Forbes, St. John Philby by Richard Kay, Young Kim Philby by James Hossack, and The Spanish Donkey Man by Paul Casser. Direction was by Christopher Venning. We present The Other Side of Silence by Ted Allbeury, a serial in 8 parts adapted by the author from his novel of the same name, with James Bolam as John Powell and Nigel Hawthorne as Kim Philby. Part 4, What Happened to My Lord?
What worried me after the meeting with Padmore, McNay and Walker was that I knew now that at least one of them was lying. Maybe all of them were lying. And they'd all been in the intelligence business for years. They knew how to camouflage the truth, and they would have done it skillfully. So I was left in the odd situation of having to use Philby himself to provide clues as to who was kidding who in London. Oddly enough, I was looking forward to meeting him again.
Oh, go on in. The door's not locked. Well, do you want to eat first or talk?
Oh, let's talk. If that's okay with you, Kim. There's a lot to talk about.
Right, we'll sit down over there. Move the cushions if they're in the way. So, let's talk. What first?
Tell me about Litzy, your first wife.
Well, what do you want to know?
Why you married a communist.
Oh, well, that started way back in England, long before I went to Vienna and met Litzy.
Tell me about it.
Well, did you ever hear about the Jarrow marches in the 30s?
Yes, I was brought up not far from Jarrow.
I was at Cambridge at the time. I'd never heard of Jarrow, but I came out of a bookshop one afternoon. It was raining hard, and a few people stood watching this long chain of men. I stopped too. All you could hear was their boots. Except for a man at the front playing a mouth organ, they were absolutely silent. They had some tatty banners saying that they wanted jobs. I didn't know anything about the steelworks being closed down, but I knew I'd never forget those men. They weren't just pale, they were grey. Their clothes were just rags. They looked more like scarecrows than men. They weren't asking for money. They were asking for jobs. I spoke to some of them in a local hall where they were spending the night. It was the first time I'd ever felt really angry in all my life. I went to see an important man that night. He was a lecturer at one of the colleges, but he had business interests. I wanted him to do something for them.
Oh, I can't talk over this. Let me switch the damn thing off. That's better. No, it's the same all over the world, Kim. Nobody's building ships anymore. You can't create shipbuilding orders out of thin air.
Oh, it wasn't market forces, Rupert. It was deliberate. It was policy.
Who says?
Well, I went back tonight to the drill hall and talked to one of them, the leader of the men on the march. He told me what had happened. The march was backed by Conservatives as well as Labour. There's over 70% unemployment in Jarrow. The town council sent an official deputation to the House of Commons, and they were interviewed by Walter Runciman. Did you know what he said? Jarrow must work out its own solution. Now, how could a man say that, a cabinet minister?
And what would your solution have been?
Socialism, social democracy, a whole new perspective. Caring about the losers, putting the capitalist bullies down.
State intervention?
Yes.
That always leads to loss of personal freedom.
Well, better that than millions of men thrown on the scrap heap.
That's what Hitler is doing in Germany.
Oh, never. Well, that's just a group of hooligans after power.
No, that's special pleading, Kim. He's finding work for the unemployed and giving the Germans back their national pride.
Well, there are better ways. There must be.
Such as?
Well, what the Soviet Union is doing.
So you're advocating Red Revolution in England?
Well, a revolution in thinking, anyway.
What are you going to do after you've finished here?
I want to have a few months in Europe.
Where?
I'm decided.
Have a look at Vienna.
Huh?
That's going to be where the real struggle starts, the struggle for Europe, or maybe the world.
You sound like a high-class tour operator. Luxury tour to see the end of civilization.
It's time you were getting back to college.